then you'll be able to complete. Which lecture do you have after? Which lecture do you have after? Which one? Nothing. If you fail us, what do you have? You have a test. That's why people are reading. Of what? So in the last lecture, before I went away, I'm used to lying to you guys that this was Faraday's coil, this one here. So I will arrange the stuff the way it should be here, but let me first do the honors. So we're going to go to electromagnetic induction. As we were talking about stuff in the workshop concerning how the atmosphere is affected, most of you are doing space science. You know this, region which is related with the ions. So they were talking of the E cross B drift, which of course is you have the E here and the B here or H, then you get the K here, which is the propagation, if it is an electromagnetic wave. But they were using this drift here as the one which would cause some electrons to move upwards. And then so they were also contributing into drift currents. So if you make these electrons to move, you cause a current. So it came to my mind to inquire, if I now get the magnet and I move it through the coil, so I get the magnet. Let's first see if the arrangement is okay. The arrangement in the lots is different, but I can see if it is like this and the magnet is coming from this side. This is the center, 0 manometer. So the magnet look like on the board is like this, isn't it? So you tell me where did the thing go? So this is the north. So the arrangement is okay. So my question was, the moment I bring this magnet and then I have gotten the current flow like this, if the magnet is approaching, these are the few lines, where do the electrons come from? The ones which are making the current to flow in this coil. I did like this, and then the current flew. Is it flew or flow? I think flow. So what causes the electrons? Which electrons are moving? Because when we have a battery, in a conventional direction of current, we are told that once I put a bulb here, and then I put a switch somewhere, then electrons are said to be moving from the negative here, then up to the positive here, without even mentioning what happens inside here. So the issue was that the chemical reaction within the battery is producing electrons which are moving to cause the current. So where are the electrons which are causing this current coming from? When I relax so much, First bet you want so that I can teach you without smiling. Those are the benefits you get when you are known by lecturers or teachers for that matter. So you get noticed when you are not there and God knows you are not there. So where do these electrons come from, which are now moving the current there? These ones are coming from the chemical reaction here. Let acid bound in the car, it is the sulfuric acid which is electrolysis. After electrolysis, then you have electrons moving. So where are my electrons here coming from? Or anywhere in the turbine in Jinja, in Isimba, in Karuma, whichever place, where do those electrons come from? We are just having a conductor moving in a magnetic field. And then all of a sudden, electrons start moving. They come here, we use the electricity. Where are they coming from? Because even this one had a wire which has electrons. So I got a big question after relaxing so much. When they were busy talking, electrons which came because of dissociation of sunlight, deep sunlight, those of you who are doing space, you know these things. Then these electrons drift. I mean, when they drift, they cause a current. That current now is the one which is causing a lot of stuff. So, where do these electrons come from? I just have a wire which has its 3 electrons. Fine. I've moved the magnet. Iron has flowed. So where are these electrons causing the current flow coming from? You have an idea?
Yes. I think the electrons are the ones that are already within the conductor that are given a motion by the magnetic field.
They are given the motion.
Yes, their motion is initiated by the electrons which are already in that conductor, that wire. I think their motion is caused by the magnetic field that is doing.
So then they start flowing endlessly,
Yes.
as long as the magnetic field is there.
As long as the magnetic field is there.
So these ones here, what happens to them? The ones in these wires.
Those wires, I think because of the chemical reaction in the battery, so this one, the electrons that are produced from the chemical reaction are more pronounced than the ones in the wire. Like the effect from the battery overcomes, like overtakes the circuit than the effect that will be used in the.
So I was eating with some guys, and then I told them, I think Masungu we are smart at making rare juju work in a modern way. And for us, we are following. Yes.
Maybe that code is made up of both positive and negative such that their distribution is equal. So when you introduce the magnetic field, it causes those electrons to go. That's why the current is
This current has no charge, meaning that it's that equal positive and equal negative.
so when you introduce the magnetic field, it will cause those electrons to start to like it induces a current.
Yeah, but these electrons will move fine. Now, if you connected in the steady current, if you connected the PD across here, then you drift the current, I mean the electrons. You start moving and then have to move the. So or the coil in the generator, if you remember. So there is a magnetic field. There is motion of the coil or the motor. Why is now the motor following the battery's force? Much as there is that back EMF, how much the back EMF is not significant, because it is, we are saying it is about. Anyway, I'm throwing this back to you because it came to my mind, and I am still yet to get the actual answer for it. So, in 1831, Michael Faraday reported a series of experiments, including 3 that with some violence to history. We are the ones who nowadays say that is violence. So, we look at Faraday's law. Please try to concentrate. I know you will pass the test, I can assure you. Just make sure you concentrate. So in 1831, Michael Faraday reported a series of experiments, including 3 that with some violence to history. With some violence to history can be categorized as follows. Can be categorized as follows. I still believe we are smarter, we can be smarter than these guys who do these things. The challenge is to change the status quo. That's where the challenge is, but you can't just tell me the conventional direction of current is this, and that's it. You convene, decide it, and then I go. I don't think that is appropriate. So experiment 1 that he did was that he pulled a loop. He pulled a loop. He pulled a loop of wire to the right. Through a magnetic field. So I beg to use this place to draw the 3 scenarios so that when I'm writing them here, you understand, sorry, you relate. So experiment 1, you have a field. You can use dots or crosses depending on how you feel about it. So I will use dots to represent the incoming field which is perpendicular to the ball. So this is, I'm using the one in the text. So this is the loop of the wire, and then the current flowed, and this is when it was being pulled at a speed v to the right. So this is the experiment 1. Experiment 2. We shall be pulling the magnet. So this is still the magnetic field. And then it is now the magnetic field which is being pulled to the left. And then we have still the current was able to flow in this loop. This is B. Then C, which is perturbing using an electromagnet. I don't know where now the electromagnet came from, because now the electromagnet is supposed to be using electricity. So you can change the current electromagnet and increase the magnetic field B. So using the electromagnet, he changed the amount of B, or the amount of electric field, sorry, magnetic field that was being produced to interface with this, and still the current flow. So this is C, and here we have changing magnetic field. This is changing for this part, magnetic field. So these are our 3 parts, the 3 experiments, which I'm trying to explain on this other side. So you draw them when I've finished writing these parts. I'm sure you have been seeing the notes, I think you know the notes. So experiment 1, he pulled the loop of the wire to the right through a magnetic field. This is figure A. A current flowed. A current flowed in the loop. So this is our loop. So if I can arrange it to the benefit of Faraday, this is the sinusoidal galvanometer that will show us that something has happened. And this is the magnetic field here. So he pulled the loop to the right. So assuming that it was like this. The coil was in the magnetic field and then pulled it to the right. And then current was seen on the whichever indicator was indicated. So this is the current I that is being tested on all of them. Experiment 2. He pulled a loop of wire, sorry, he moved the magnet, he moved the magnet to the left, holding the loop tight, holding the loop still, holding the loop still, figure B. Again, the current flowed in the loop. Again, the current flowed in the loop. So, doesn't matter. You can, if you move the coil or move the magnet in still have induced current flow. Then the other bit is on the question of using the baby magnet. I don't know whether the baby magnet is around. So whether, yes. The other one now was the question of using the baby magnet compared to the. So this was the changing, when changing the magnetic field. So I have these two magnets to demonstrate that. You use a small one and put up the big one. It's the same as using an electromagnet to change the field, either to increase it or make it small and still see its effect. So experiment 3. With both the loop and the magnet at rest, with both the loop and the magnet at rest, that is in figure C. He changed the strength. He changed the strength of the magnetic field using in brackets we had the magnet. We had the magnet. Magnet and vary the current in the coil. And vary the current in the coil. So he varied the current in the coil. Once again, the current flowed in the loop. Amazing. So, but I'm saying amazing because we would think that Faraday was able to discover electricity at this rate. And its relationship with magnetism. But then he is amazingly using an electromagnet at this level. That is converting electricity into magnetism. So that's why I said that even in the beginning, that with some variance to history, with some kind of disagreement in history. So now you can draw the other ones. I just wanted to make these statements when you are following up. I just wanted to make sure that things flow in the bit. So this was just his kind of discovery. Those people were always doing something, not you who when you were talking about the elephant and Madu. They were always trying to discover something, trying to work on some stuff. I don't know whether they had another life to live or that was their life. Always. But I'm sure a man like Tesla, that was his life because he died miserably. Without a family, without any patent to his work, he just went like that. But how many people's families do you remember them by their families, that he had a big family or a very successful family? It's what we do as people. No, of course. We don't care about Amin's children. We just know he was a big daddy who did a lot of funny things to Ugandans. Have you finished here? It's our way. You just know now I will read like 3 lines, then I will complete the way. There's nothing new that I've written here. Please, we are trying to catch up with time. You know where to, you know that I will leave like 3 lines, then when I go to the weather, I will just try to complete my notes. So we note that one, an induced EMF, before EMF, let's what, so an induced current, which we have been seeing in about the I, is produced when there is relative motion. Is produced when there is relative motion. I look forward to when I will teach this course, these courses to only guys. I tried to do that for distance, but they were fake, so I wouldn't care saying whatever I want to say. But you can only have an induced EMF when there is some motion, either by a magnet or by the coil. If there is no relative motion, then there is no induced EMF. Just like there is no. So 2, the magnitude of this induced EMF, the magnitude of induced EMF or induced current, for example, or current, which we have been talking about, which is the consequence of the EMF, is proportional. To not only the magnetic strength, to not only the magnetic strength, but the time rate, of change of the magnetic flux. Time rate of the change of the magnetic flux. So I can't be vulgar because I may be charged in the sexual harassment court. Someone may go and say, that guy when he's teaching, he says things that make us uncomfortable. And then I'm called, and then I have to defend myself. So I have to suffer and not explain well. Because the magnitude of this induced EMF is proportional to not just the strength, but how the rate. That's why I was saying that size does not matter. Because when I got in slowly, I'm just shaking a bit up and down, but if I was to go consistently, now I'm beeping. If I get out slowly, so this demonstrates that actually size does not matter. You have to make sure the time rate is. That's why coin is why are you laughing? Coin is understand. Is it taking the coin or it is real? So the induced EMF. The induced EMF is given by E nicely induced being proportional to the rate at which the flux is being cut. I crammed this stuff. I couldn't believe what I'm talking about. We didn't have a generator at home that maybe I can relate. So just cram, defy dt.
Yes.
That's it. You just reach exam and then you just write E is equal to, nice E is equal to defy dt. And then that is Faraday's law. But now you know it. You know that when I go in slowly, much as the field is too strong, I go in slowly. Yes, I get out slowly. It does that. But if I make sure the time when the cutting through these conductors cutting through this field here, the north-south field here, then even when you keep silent and you hear the sound from the pointer hitting the end of the scale. So now you know this. But also, if I can label this as north and this one as south, if I approach with the north, if I go in, where did it go? So then I go out, this is the south. But it depends on where I am. So the arrangement of the coil, so I'm changing the arrangement to fit my poles. So I've got it, where did it go? Good. So that means it was opposing. This is the north, and the fields are coming out, and I get in. Because this side, so it is opposing my motion. But it wouldn't have mattered anyway. When I would get out, it would still be open. So I get out, it goes this way, it is opposing me. I change the pole. When I got in, it went this way. So I'm going to get in with the south, follows the motion. When I get out, it's not about that. It's because when I get in with the south, the fields from the south are entering. So even if I'm going in with the magnet, but the fields are going the other side. That's why it seems as if when I enter, then it goes and then it comes. But it is the fields. And this is the only work Lenz did. And he also got it off. Called Lenz's law. So the direction of the induced EMF or current the direction of the induced EMF is proportional or is provided by Lenz's law. So would you need to cram really? You only know that the induced EMF will flow in a direction as to oppose the change. What's in it? And you wouldn't say, because the north we have seen, and it is the south it will oppose. I can't use this. It is very, you can't see now. So the direction of the induced EMF, the direction of the induced EMF is such that the magnetic flux associated with the current generated by it opposes the original change. Opposes the original change of flux causing causing the EMF. So we just add a negative to this equation here. The proportionality constant is 1 after series of experiments. It is found out the constant is 1. So now Lenz improved this Faraday's law, which would be now equal to minus 5. Then this one gives us our first equation. Now tell me, if schools had this baby, and you teach like I have taught, do you want to tell me that we were theoretical, that the curriculum is theoretical, or it is the poor government which is theoretical? The poor government that doesn't provide the equipment. I've showed you everything. I've showed you Faraday's laws, how he did experiments. We've done them here. We don't need to go to the lab. We've confirmed how Lenz came up with the minus. And that's it. You can't forget this. Then I have my radio died, but I had bought a radio silent, and it had a radio silent charger, phone charger, with a lot of pins for different phones, and also a flashlight. It is on the videos. Now it is dead. I opened it up and it is just there as scrap. But when the Chinese was taught this one, he made that radio. So I'll share with you, I'll put on the course materials the program I had on Telefina. It is in Uganda. I had this, I carried these things, that radio. And I showed people that in actual sense, we are not having any problem with what we are doing. It's because we don't make it practical. And the reason we don't make it practical is not the write-up of the curriculum. It is the presence of materials. Now what they have done is teaching our children how to make cakes. And, you know, cow feeding, animal husband. I want my child to go in the US and work in Silicon Valley and do coding. You are teaching him poultry. And you are even going ahead and setting a question of poultry, carpentry. Now, if I don't have a sister and you say, your sister did this, how would I feel? We are only boys, and you are telling me, your sister. If I lost a dad in COVID, and then you are busy telling me, your dad married from the other tribe, explain how you get used to the children. And I don't have a dad, and you are reminding me of the trauma. So, I have a lot of problems in this, but I will win. This has to stop. At least in sciences, the questions we were asking in sciences come from the textbooks made by those we say that they are practical. Abbott is a UK, I think, publisher. Lincoln is a UK publisher. I use Griffith, he's an American publisher. The questions I ask you are from Griffith. So why would you say I'm theoretical when I'm just using the questions of other people? Buy me equipment those guys use, and then I use their textbooks, and I'm done. But don't reduce the curriculum to our local. You are teaching our children for local after you make Rolex, make cakes, and then when they go out there, they compete with who? Making Rolex. Others, for them, the poultry is automated. You put chicken here, the temperatures regulate themselves, the feeds just flow on a conveyor belt. Here you carry, put here, and then you can't measure the exact amount of feeds you have to give the chicken. And then you have such a guy. So in this constant of proportionality is taken to be unity. It's taken to be 1. In mathematics, unity, we call it 1, we call it unity. So the induced EMF is sometimes, like in an electric coil, the resultant induced EMF would be called the back EMF, called the back EMF. It is numerical. In electromagnetic fields, in electrostatic fields, the field is conservative. And if the field is conservative, in electromagnetic fields, not electrostatic fields. In electromagnetic fields, the field is conservative. So the integral E dot dl is equal to now for time dependent, which is the same as time varying. For time dependent fields, this would result in potential. And now the potential we have here is the same as the induced EMF. That's the voltage we get when we do electromagnetic induction. We have arrived.
Yes, ma'am.
So for time dependent fields, time variant fields, then this one here would be equal to the EMF induced. Equal to the integral over the closed path E dot dl. So we consider, if we consider an open surface with the field lines, so consider a circuit C. Consider a circuit C enclosing the surface S. Placed in a magnetic field. Placed in a magnetic field B. Then if we had this as the open surface, which is constituting our curve C, and then we have the field lines going across. Just trying to make sure that we get the field, that this is a flat surface like this. And then we are having the electric field lines going through. Then we take at a particular point like here, we have the E, and then we have the DL, which is along the loop, the distance moved along the route or along the path taken. And if this is the normal normal to the surface. I'm trying to see how to draw this. Well, I will just draw it now. If this is the normal to the surface, any roof, can I just remove this G so that I can write it like that? So if this is the open surface S enclosed by the path C, and this is the magnetic field line, so this is not, this is our B. This is our electromagnetic wave, okay, electromagnetic field with B, and then we have an E here. I'm very attentive because when the battery gets out, I gotta put another battery. I forgot my, I had moved with my battery. Is it a battery or a power bank? Is there a difference? So I forgot it. Then maybe I got it Wizek, and now I got a cable and I'm like, I'm still okay. My power decides to go. But I'm still okay. I have another battery. The problem with this battery is that when I'm changing it, now the video gets cut into two. So we won't have the canvas video like the one we have been having. So you can see when I'm about, the hour is about to end, it's when I finish the dog. You don't trust me. In time you will. My head is just programmed. Towards the end of the hour, it brings the break by itself. Just. And then I have to confirm. That's when I say I'm not feeling okay now. The hour is wrong. You know what?
When you say the brain begins to switch off.
Mine doesn't switch off. Mine switches to telling stories. And then I know that is a break. Rolex, you wake up your neighbor is illegal to sleep in class when the teacher is seeing. You may dream and then you run around in the class side, you get problems. Okay, so we take a small element of this area. Take a small element of this area somewhere around, for example, here, where we have this normal to the surface. So take a small element, of area ds. And being along, being the vector, being a vector, which is a unit vector, normal to the surface, normal to the surface. Then the flux phi would be the same as, do you remember the flux, the definition for flux?
Yes.
Whenever you see the word flux, the first thing that should come into your mind is area. So if it is electric flux, then you now know you are talking about electric fields threading an area. And most appropriately perpendicular to that. If they are at an angle, you should always try to make sure that you adjust them to be perpendicular. So you take the component of these fields perpendicular. If it is the magnetic flux, then you are talking of the magnetic fields perpendicular to a particular area. If they are not, then make sure you adjust them up to fit the perpendicular part. So here we use the integral over this surface here, and then we get the B dot A. The area is this, because we are taking a small area, this element here. So this would be the same as integral over the surface S, and we said that this MDS gives us the vector of the elemental surface area normal to that surface, that elemental surface. So this is equation number 3, and this other equation should have been number 2. And this is so since NDS is actually equivalent to DS. Now, we know that the induced EMF is equal to the integral E dot dA for time varying fields. So if we go back to Faraday's law and then we bring in the other bit, which, because Faraday was talking about the rate at which the flux link in the conductor, the coil, whatever it is that you are trying to use to induce EMF, the rate at which you would be having this material being threaded by the field, that rate included the phi. So that means that according to Faraday's law, then the E induced is equal to E dot L, that also is equal to the minus d phi dt, and this should be equal to the phi is the B, the integral B dot NDS. So we can first do this. The rest is algebraic, monastic. So we are trying to come up with Faraday's law in differential form. And this law would be that the time derivative is independent of the path. Is independent of the path. What matters are the beginning and the end points. So the path of integration is not an issue. And that means that the E induced is equal to the integral E dot dl. And this is the same as minus, remember when we had the dt, then the integral rho d tau. So we got the Kali rho by, so this will be integral Kali b by Kali t dot yes. And this will be our E induced. Thus, we have the E dot dl, the two are the same, since they are all giving us the induced EMF, whether you take the being a conservative field or by the Faraday's induction. Thus, we can equate these two, that the integral E dot dn is equal to the integral over this surface Kali B by Kali T dot cs. And this will be our equation 4. And then we got the this being the integral form. This is the integral form of Faraday's law. So if I ask you to state the, you also talk like how people used to talk in Hinel, yes? Yes, there is a negative here. This is negative. So is this equal to this? Now, if I have I can change this line here to become the surface. And who do I use? TWINAMASIKO is for the volume and the surface. So this is Stokes. So from Stokes theorem, I forgot I should have introduced my idea to the participants. And then they verify it, and then I come and say on how they do these things in international meetings. And then I come with the confirmation that now people can use TWINAMASIKO theorem. I forgot. So integral, maybe if I was communicating, you would have reminded me, so I missed out. E dot dn is equal to integral the curl of E dot ns. And I'm being this cheeky on the account that I explained to you. I was not sponsored by a dad or an uncle or a brother. I was sponsored by my head. And you too have a head. And it can sponsor you too. And it can sponsor you too. So that's why I am cheeky. If I had gone on a business trip, this would be bragging. What the Baganda call Kuda, because you wouldn't be able to afford them. No. I didn't spend any penny. I didn't spend, even when I reached, I didn't spend anything. I refused. No, I got what, everything I was entitled. You know, these people who reach and then they are going to town to buy what? No, then they want to go on the machine, take some coffee or whatever. No. The teams were enough, everything was enough. So I do this, I don't want it, some of you to say, when the guy came back, he was talking about, no. I know you too can. If you put in your effort. That's why I say it openly. I'm not like these guys. I saw some guy on social media beating a border man, telling him, me I'm rich, you are poor. Money is a vista. It can go anytime. And then you find that you are scratching yourself again. So this implies that the integral over the surface S, the curl of, according to Stokes theorem, which has become this, the curl of E, the NDS, you don't need to. If you wrote here ds as a vector, I have no problem. This would be the same as what it was being equal to here, which is a minus integral over the surface S, and then we have Kali B by Kali T dot This we can call it, so for uniformity we can just make sure that we write it in this form. And then this one is equation 5. So for some surface S, the integrands are equal. So for an arbitrary surface S, the integrands are equal. Because we are just doing this DS's for integration. So if the integrands are the same, so this curl of the curl of E would equal to minus curly B and curly T. And this is what we call Faraday's law. Because of this bend here, this one becomes Faraday's law in differential. So equation 6 is the differential form of Faraday's law. The differential form is because of this, because depending on which coordinate system you are in, it is equal to the Kali by Kali. So this one, if we are in Cartesian coordinates, then we have Kali by Kali xi plus Kali by Kali yj plus Kali by Kali zk. Or you can just say that this would be equal to Kali by Kali x plus Kali by Kali y plus Kali by Kali z. So these partial differentials in this gradient operator are the ones which make such an equation to be the differential, just like we did for the divergence of E being equal to rho of epsilon. This is Gauss's law in differential form. And then when we consider a closed surface, and we take this E down ds being the same as the QM closed over the epsilon, then this one, because of this here, becomes the integral forms. We did some vector potential in static fields. So let's now look at how this vector potential transforms, because we just heard that when we get this curl here, the curl of this is for electrostatic. So the curl of the curl of A was equaling to, and this was the vector potential. This was, the other one was for static fields. So how about now if we go to time varying fields? Time varying fields are changing fields. They are varying with time, meaning that they are changing fields. So I found the mazes amazing. The other part is so young. The 60 ones won't be enough, so they'll be like 40. So either you share 40, 20, that's 40. Still, if 15 can reach, so each of you can just take a piece. There are two, but the second one is small. I will show you the photo.
Based on gender.
Well, that gender I can have. The one who takes the one on top, or the one who takes the one on How are you putting the J like this? I just want to understand. The cone, the maze cone is like this. Okay? So with this being the, so if they are, I think I can get 15 to make sure when you bend the, when you chop them, they make fabrics. Bending, breaking is an abomination. So, do you remember me telling you that if you can get one with odd lines, I'll give you $1 million? Did I say that?
Yes.
One time I promised a class and one student, I think he went to the garden and couldn't get any of even numbers. These things have lines. These lines here are even. You can never get an odd one. 10, 12, 14, 8, 6. You can't find odd numbered line. You can't. If you find it, you can even go to Egypt. If you add the piece here and add some of these and then start counting. Well, which sides are you using? If I count going this way. I am going to deduct 5 marks from the let me put it on record. So I am deducting 5 marks. Yes, from this course. Fine assessment. So you can't get, if you get 80, if you get 75, if you get 80, I'll make it 75. If you get 50, I'll make it 45. How do you, because it's a cylinder. Okay, with a little bit of depreciation at the top. Now, how do you tell me that a cylinder, that when you count from this side is different from when you count this side? They don't like, we want a normal, that's a disabled base cone. And in my garden, I don't get disabled cones.
So yeah.
They are in lines.
So when
Each hole a single base cone and in lines and spaced by about a meter. I'll take a video of the garden so that of the maze in the garden so that you understand what I'm. But they are ready.
so
We are about to agree on which day we shall have our party.
should be at night.
It is in the evening. I don't give a party in the morning, so it is in the evening. If you want to go deep in the night, that's your problem. I have no problem. The cameras will be there. The camera will be there until the end of the party. So I don't know whether you're getting interested in being in the night or not will help you at all. Okay, so we look at the vector potential in time varying fields. In the varying magnetic field. Faraday law in differential form. Faraday law in differential form. Says that the curl of E equals to minus Kali B by Kali T. So the idea, physically, what is happening is that the more I try to curl the electric fields, if I was in a static field, when I curl them, then I wouldn't remain with anything. In electrostatic fields, when they were static, the curl of E was equal to 0. But even if I am able to produce this current or this electric field by electromagnetic induction, and I keep killing it, then it's like I am trying to, kind of betraying or reducing these efforts. That's why we got a negative here. The moment you keep curling the electric fields, which were supposed to emerge nicely coming out, and you keep curling them, much as you are producing this current, these electric fields by the induction, your efforts are being drained. It's like getting a toxic partner. You come home, you are excited, you say, I think I will buy a vehicle one time. And say, you will never get a vehicle. It's very negative. Then you come home and you are like, I think I will get also a building like that one of my parents. You die without them. Instead of telling you, let's pray to God, you give us. For them, they are negative. So that's what is happening. It's a toxic. This is a toxic partner. But from behind, we said that B is equal to the curl of some vector which we call the vector potential. So this would imply that the curl of E will be equal to minus Kali by Kali T, and the B now is the curl of A. So this would imply that we have the curl. We can bring the curl this side, and then we take the curl of E plus Kali A by Kali T, and this should be equal. We have remained with nothing on the right. It's not about things being zero. It is because we have just drawn everything from the right to the left, and everything remains. So you are doing the curl. So the curl cannot be the one responsible for zero. So it has to be what you are carrying on. So this would imply that using the vector identity, I don't know what it is in the notes. I mean, I didn't come with the textbook today. That the curl of minus the scalar potential is equal to 0, then this would imply that this inner here is the same as here. So the E plus Kali A by Kali T would be equal to this one here, minus phi. Because we compare this identity with this equation here, what is inside here that equated to 0, since both have the curl, the two would be the same. And where this phi here is not flux, but is the electrostatic potential. Is the electrostatic potential, which is scalar. Therefore, we say that E is equal to minus grad phi, then minus this other part, Kali A by Kali T, and this one gives us what we call, or which would be for, so E was equal to minus grad V for electrostatic fields, which are static. Now when they became valid, we have to add this part here of the varying fields, what you are continuing to produce. And so this is for time varying fields. For time varying fields. Note we note that the in electrostatics, they are static, so they are not changing. So if they are not changing, this change here becomes zero. Anything with Carib by Carib T, if it is static, and so that means that here by Carib T equals 2, giving the usual form, of electrostatic field, so the electric field density being equal to minus grad V, but the V here, at this point, we are using this pi for the scalar potential in electrostatics, but we are choosing to use this at this point in time. So they are the same. If we take the time varying field, then we get the other, but if we take the electrostatics, that this part here, this term here dies, so we remain with this, whereby this one was E equals to minus grad, where this is the scalar potential, which is the electric potential in the electrostatics part. Now, when all these things happen in normal life, when you are there and you are seated alone, and then you develop dangerous thoughts, in the military, if you sit there and you are smoking your cigar slowly, and you are thinking, the commander just calls you and can call 5 guys and he says they beat you up, like for 5 minutes or 15. Doesn't matter if they beat you 200 kgs. The issue why they do that is to make sure that you do not suffer from what we call self-reluctance or self-induction, the process, and maybe start a mutiny. Has it come or it is still struggling to come? It's coming. It's coming. Okay. In time with the battery to last for long, but this one is dying slowly, and I'm sure it is going to spoil my video. But I have not switched on, so now I can switch on. Please stop.
Prophet Benon.
We have a prophet. Well, if you want to know about prophets, you ask Fred. Fred, he knows the truth now. He knows the truth. I don't have to hustle. So we go to what we call self-induction. So they will cane the soldier to just make sure that you are busy. If they don't cane, I just want to... It's like juju, I wanted to switch it off, and instead it just said it is okay. So I don't know in school, I don't know at campus how we can explain the self-induction, but there are people who have self-induction. You find that like what is this in Jeremy? I think Jeremy could be a victim of self-induction. He just says, I'm coming late. He just comes late. Then he says, I'm coming early. He comes early. And he's excited about it. So, but in this course, if I had a chance of putting the current in this coil, and then I switch it on and off, switch it on and off. If you look at the headlamps of the vehicle, when the lights are switched on, like especially these people who greet each other, when they meet each other, when you pull the whatever and then the lights go on, you see it increasing. It's like the current increased in the filament of the bulb, and then when you release, you see it as if it is just going away slowly. Of course, when you hit something up, it blows up when it is fully lit and goes up. So it means that you can see current going and sort of disappear. So that means you have a change. You can have a change in current by having your coil, and once you have had this coil, you connect it to the battery, and if you can switch on and off, you can get the current to be flowing and flowing in and drawing out. It is that change of current in the same coil that then will induce another current in the same coil, because you get this current, the field is like this. If you make this current to be alternating, then you have a change in electricity and magnetism. That's how we found out that the moving iron meter was working on this principle. After getting a solenoid, and then in this solenoid we put these two iron rods. So it didn't matter. If the current was moving in this direction, the field would be this way, this would all be north. If the current was moving in the opposite direction in a moment, a 60th of a second, then you would have this south-south. Still they would return. And only a significant difference would be how much you are putting. The more you put in, the more the repulsion, because the more the magnetism takes place. The less you put in, the less the repulsion. So that is the equivalent to the magnet of the current flow. And eventually we'll be able to get the deflection proportional to. So that was easily done. Now, so when this current when the change in current would produce a change in field, that change in field will produce an EMF within the same coil, and that is self-induction. So when a current in a circuit changes, when a current in a circuit changes, an EMF is induced. An EMF is induced in the circuit in such a way as to cause the change causing it. So here in this course we're not going to be putting a lot of stuff, drawing a lot of stuff on the coils. We just need to do the algebraic gymnastics, because we did this in electricity and magnetism. Here I take you as big bosses and we go to business. And so we got the induced EMF being proportional to the rate at which the current is changing. Or we can introduce the proportionality constant, which is the inductance, di, dt. And I've introduced the negative because of Mr. Lenz, because of oppose the change has in it. Where L is the self-inductance. So this is the self-control. That you are in your room, you are like, maybe I should go to the club. This is the guy who says, club, but you have a test tomorrow. So if you are fake, you just say, let me go and have fun. You go there, when you come, you doze. When you reach the test, now you are blank. You are looking for who to do that. You don't even remember the fun you had in club. So this is the self-inductance. Self-inductance of the circuit. And according to Faraday's law, this still is valid with how much the flux is being cut by the same coil, so that our induced EMF would be the same as the integral E that the L, and which we said according to Lenz's law minus d phi dt. So we can relate these two since they are all E induced. So this would imply that they are all negative, so we can have L di dt being the same as the d phi dt. So if this is a mero change in flux, okay, they are all changing with time. So we can look at their change. We can relate their change since they are all, changing within this time. So we got so the dt's go, and so this would imply that L is equal to, okay, you can say this implies that L di equals to d phi. If we integrate both sides to get the total, then the inductance will be the same as, so the phi will be equal to, the flux will be equal to L I. So on integrating, I'm not doing the right thing. I should have just left it as it is. As this, on integrating that, I should have said this would be equal to that. It is okay. So on integrating, that equals that. So a constant L, or the constant L, only depends on the geometry of the circuit. The geometry of the circuit, and is called the self-inductance. The units are Henrys, so they are Henrys. Now if you have a bad friend who causes you bad influence, every time he comes in, let's go, I had such, not friends, they were neighbors in the hall of residence. My room, I had a single room here, opposite exactly, we are two guys. One doing veterinary medicine, another one doing education, always going for clubbing, and then they would come and say, we have comps, complimentaries, we go. I say, you go, when you come, tell me the fun you had, I'll enjoy. Yeah, they go dance, then they come and tell me, we danced, we had cheeks, yes. I say, yeah, that all sounds nice. I also enjoy by induction. So, but you see, these are the guys who would want to change the way you do things. I don't know whether you have friends who always want to twist you around. I told you of the guy I met when I was doing MSc, and I think I now remember the country, was Nepalese. Some old guy, too old with some gray hair coming out. And then he leaves the hostel, the place where our student village, he goes to the campus. When we meet at campus, he's been saying, let's go back. So one day I told him, did I come with you? When you were coming, you never rang me because our room phones were free. In a home, when you are calling another flat. You didn't call me when you were coming in. Now I am here, you are calling, you are telling me to go back. You are tired, I'm not. So if you have that, then there are those friends also I have had who used to say, let's go reading. Reading. So like in the library, I used to read, I told you I used to read in the law section. And there are guys whom you will find same place every time you go there. So it meant that we had the same kind of thinking. Even now on the road, when I'm coming in the morning, there are 5 or 4 vehicles which will overtake me or I overtake them, and I notice them. I don't know whether they notice me, meaning that we always leave home the same time. So that one becomes what we call mission. It's up to you to have mutual inductance in a positive way or. So what Museveni used on these friends is mutual inductance. He all convinced them when we fight we shall all eat. He's eating alone. That was mutual induction. So consider, don't report me that I say that, I'll remove it from the. Consider two neighboring, I think I'm going to write on all videos. The stories you hear in these videos are for making the course understandable. As a disclaimer, so that someone doesn't use my video and say, let's see what he's saying in class. I'll put that disclaimer in all my videos. So consider two neighboring circuits. Two neighboring, the neighboring is, the spelling depends on whether you are British or a believer in the United States English. So consider two neighboring circuits 1 and 2, in which currents I1 and I2, which currents I1 and I2 respectively may flow. Note that they do respect, but because I1 flows in circuit 1, I2 flows in circuit 2, may flow. When current I2 in circuit 2 changes, an EMF circuit 1. Such that this induced EMF in 1 would be the same as minus, length is low, the mutual inductance of, between these two coils, so we shall say M21 because it is the 2 which is changing, so M21, and then the change in here is the current, so which is di dt. And the current that is changing is in circuit 2. Now, that is when the current I2 was changing. So, if current I1 current I1 changes, if current I1 in circuit 1 changes its field with influence. Remember, this is how they look like in electricity and magnetism, because I'm not drawing them again. We had coil 1, which was like this, and then we had coil 2, circuit 2, which was like this. So this is I2, this is I1, and so when you have I1, its field goes like this. So if it changes, it threads the, this is circuit 1, this is circuit 2. So the previous statement was that when the current I2 changes, its field will thread circuit 1 and induce the current there. And that current that is dependent, that induced EMF depending on the change of this current is what we did as being E1, because it is in 1, being the same as the mutual minus mutual inductance due to coil 2 on 1, then the change in current in 2 with the time, or the rate of change of the current I2. Now, if the current I1 changes, so if you have this coil here, its field is threading 2. If it changes, then the field produced by 1 threads the coil 2 and induces an EMF in 2. And this changes, an EMF would be induced in 2. An EMF is induced in circuit 2. And if it is induced in circuit 2, then we got that such that the E induced 1, sorry, this is now 2, is equal to minus M12. The coil 1 is the one which is affecting, whose field is threading 2, and then this is due to the changing of current in 1. Now, the constant, the relationship between a couple, it doesn't matter. You can't define it that you can't define it that because it is between. Do you have a couple here?
Yes.
Whom I can use? Yes. Who? With who? between saying the relationship between Brian and Shakira, or the relationship between Shakira and Brian. It is just their relationship. It doesn't matter where you look. It is the relationship between them. So it doesn't matter whether I say the mutual inductance between the coil 1 and coil 2, or the mutual inductance of the coil 2 as it threads field of coil 2 threading the coil 1. So the constant M21 equals M12, and we simply say it is just M. It is just a relationship between them. Doesn't matter where you look at it. If it is toxic, it is toxic. If it is beautiful, it is beautiful. It benefits all of them. If it is toxic, it hurts both of them. There is no way you can... and then this M here is called the mutual. It's called the mutual. It's called the mutual inductance. And we gotta note something, that from Faraday's law, I don't want to eat your time since you are going for a test. Gotta be careful. So we gotta note that from Faraday's law, we got that the E1 would actually have been minus d phi 1 dt for self-inductance, but also this would be the same as the minus M21. It could have resulted from the, when this field comes in, it threads the coil 1, the circuit 1. So we would have the phi 1 because it's the field in the coil 1. So this would, but this was coming from the second circuit. So M21 would equal to d phi 1 dt times dt di2, and this would imply that M21 is equal to d phi 1 d phi 2. You can find out M1, M12 and the like. Similarly, or in the same spirit, I'm about to finish. Similarly, the induced EMF in the second circuit would be minus d phi 2 for self-inductance in the same circuit, which is minus M12, the changing of current in I1. This would imply that M12 would equal to d phi 2 by the I1, and thus M12 is equal to d phi 2 over d phi 1. So that was just a relationship between Brian and Shakira. So if they went ahead and got married, then we would have the coefficient of coupling, and the Brian has to get circumcised and become harmonious. So the coefficient of coupling will help us to understand what runs a marriage, which is money. that would be the coefficient of calculating K. Without money, you are useless in the home. That's how they start. They say, I'm okay, I love you the way you are. Until when you become broke. And they say, I don't eat love. Yes.
When is our party?
We are meeting tomorrow, so we shall decide.
No, it should be there.
It has to be before exam, so it cannot go beyond 15th of November.
It should be this Friday because we have many tests this week.
I don't care about your tests. I will be able to give the party, so I will choose, I can only choose a Thursday, which is, since I'm combining those who are doing instrumentation and the addition of those who are doing electromagnetism, I can only use a lecture time of, if not Thursday, we can use Wednesday for practicals. When are we finishing practicals? Yeah, if I get annoyed with electromagnetism students, I can only make for electromagnetism. Yes. After all, if the budget becomes small.
Yeah,
No, but the culture has been that I beg for electromagnetism.
I am the co-MC. I'm the co-MC.
And since the electronics and instrumentation is a subset of electromagnetism, it works for me. So tomorrow we shall complete this coefficient and then start on Maxwell's and complete them also. And then next week we do the propagation in conducting and non-conducting area. And then we finish the course and then we eat the party. And then you pass and then you go away. So see you tomorrow at 3.